Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SoCap Improv Comedy Podcast. My name is Ralph McLeod. I am the owner and artistic director of the SoCap Improv Comedy Theater at 154 Danforth Avenue in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We are above the Black Swan Tavern on the second and third floor. We do improv classes. We have shows, corporate events. You can rent our theater, put on your own show. Oh my goodness. It's a great place to come and hang out. And we do improv. We teach improv, but there's more of a focus, I would say, on people who want to use improvisation not to become the next Tina Fey, but who want to learn how to use improv, the skills that improv teaches to help become better communicators, to increase creativity, to find new ways of thinking and interacting. And for that, absolutely, improv is great. I like to say, get out of your head and into the moment, overcome your self-consciousness, and embrace your self-confidence. And I think improv is an amazing tool for doing exactly that. But like everything, it's if you come to one improv class, you might get a sense of what's possible. That's what I like to leave. Like when people come to me and they do one class, I like to say, if there's something about yourself that you want to change, what I hope you leave here today understanding is that's possible. If you're have a lot of anxiety about talking to people one-on-one, or you're not that funny, you want to be more engaging with people. Like I hope you leave my class and go, oh, it's possible, right? It's gonna take some time and some work, but that's the thing about habits. Like you don't need to see like huge transformations overnight. You just have to see incremental development, right? Like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym once and expect to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger the next day. But it's nice to over time start seeing like, I have more energy. Right. Once you start seeing results, you will get better. This idea of motivation, right? That for, it's not, motivation does not precede action. Action precedes motivation, or results precede motivation. It's hard to be motivated to do something when you're not seeing the results of what you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to lose fat, it's once you start losing fat, it becomes much easier to stay motivated to keep on this path, because at the beginning, it's the classic thing of you try to lose fat or weight. I mean, everybody wants to lose fat, not weight, but we say weight. So you go to the gym and start working out, and because you're adding muscle, which, attracts water. Well, muscle is 70% water. You start putting on weight and you're like, oh no, this is not what I wanted. But that's muscle weight, maybe, that you're putting on. Anyway, point being that improv is a tremendous tool for self-transformation. But like everything, it takes time and it takes practice and doing it over and over and over again to eventually change the defaults in your body, change your conditioning, unwire certain conditioning that is detrimental to you or to one, and replace it with conditioning that is more to your liking, shall we say, right? Like in my experience, we're mainly conditioned to affect people, like to be seen as being impressive or helpful. But we're trying to act on people. We're trying to get our needs met by altering other people. And that, in my experience, doesn't work. It'll work in certain environments and probably with certain people. At work, it's probably good. At school, it's good. But out in the real world, if you just impress people all the time, you just come across as a smart aleck, which nobody likes. So one of the things, the conditioning is, for me, it's less, here's a person, let's see if I can make them like me. And it's more like, here's a person, let's see what this interaction brings. Right. And then and not having an agenda every time you meet somebody, just letting it be whatever it wants to be. That's for me, a very powerful way to live And, but it does require that you be okay with certain people not liking you. And that's hard. As an empath, that's a very hard thing. And part of that for me is understanding that it's not personal. If someone doesn't like you for whatever reason, it's not personal. Just the way the people that you don't like, it's not personal. It's, for some reason, that's not your person. They are the person for other people, but not for you. Anyway, I'm digressing. Today, I wanted to chat about an interesting thing that happens a lot when we improvise, and that is playing God. And by playing God, I mean, in this instance, calling into existence characters or animals, particularly people and animals. And then because you've created them, you've called them into existence, you get to treat them a certain way. And you will, as a performer, as a person in the class, be judged on how you treat these people and animals, etc., that you create. And this particular, it's almost like I'm thinking it's pretty much exclusively living creatures, but it's other human beings and animals. These are the two things that people will create in a scene, and then treat them a certain way. Now, years ago, it was a very common practice that anytime a baby was created in the scene, somebody would immediately, it's terrible to even say it, but they would, I can't even say it. They would not treat that baby well. I'll put it that way. It was, people did it because they thought it was funny. It was never funny. It was always just like, it made everybody feel terrible. So here's the classic example, I guess, now that you will hear quite often is a character, in order to affect another character, will say, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry that I hit your dog." And so in that moment, you've created an animal. It's not real, of course, but you've created it. You've called it into existence by, "Oh, your dog, that's so lovely." And then backing over it with your car. And whatever the intention is when that happens, it's not funny, and you will be judged harshly for it. And it's one thing, like if you're playing a bad guy or like the villain of a scene. Obviously, if you're creating a dog and you're hurting it, you're going to be seen as the bad guy. But it goes beyond that. We don't judge your character. We judge you as the performer. And so when you create things in existence, you will be judged by how you treat them. So, so in my class once, there was a person who said, my dog, he ran away. And everybody watching this was like, "Ooh, what happened to the dog?" And because I guess the feeling or the our expectation, that's the word, my God, was that the dog died, that he ran away, and somehow something bad happened to him. But all you have to do is say, "Oh, well, he ran away. Yeah, but then he met this really nice family who took him in, and now he's very happy." And then everybody feels like, "Oh, okay, good. The dog is taken care of." And now your character can still seem like a sad sack who can't even keep a dog, but at least that dog got taken care of and went to a better home. And now we can enjoy the scene again. There's an interesting thing that happens with male characters, especially, where if you get two guys together, this will happen. It happens regularly, like maybe a couple times a month. I have to have this conversation with people in my class where the two guys will be talking, and one guy will say, he'll basically offer up his wife to the other male character as like offering a drink. "Hey, would you like to make love to my wife?" I'm like, whoa, hold on. First of all, you've called into existence a character who doesn't exist. This is not like another actor. It's just two guys in the scene, and so one is making up that they have a wife But then after he makes her up, he's offering her to his friend like he would offer a drink. I'm like, whoa, hold on. You've created a character. A character has no agency in the scene. They have no voice. They can't be talk. And even though they're not real, to us they are. And then the way that you treat that character is how we will judge you. And if you do that, not only will we just see you as not a nice character, but you as not a nice person, right? Because you know, you, whatever your intention is when you create your character, your spouse, and offer that spouse to a friend, there's a question of like, well, what are you doing? First of all, and it's interesting because it does kind of follow social hierarchies. Like if you create a character of your boss, and then tell us your boss is like a jerk, and then do something to that person, well, that's more palatable because you've given us a reason to dislike them because by setting it up. But certainly, if you create a character that like a child, an animal, a female character, if you're a male character, who either do have or seem to have less, I guess, agency or power on the social hierarchy, you'll be judged very harshly. Well, harshly, you'll be judged by how you treat them. And if you treat them poorly, you'll be judged harshly and poorly. If you treat them well, you'll be seen as a hero. So this happened to me in a show where one of my scene partners offered me his spouse in that way. And I said, well, wait, hold on. What does she think about this? Let's ask her. Let's find out what her point of view is, because maybe she's not into it. And I even got comments afterwards like, thank you for doing that, because that was really nice of you. And so just be careful, just be careful when you create characters, situations, you will be judged by how you treat them. Similarly, if you're, I guess I'm thinking about a dating scenario where you're meeting someone and they're asking you about your past relationships, and you start talking about every person that you've ever dated is a total jerk. Well, how do you think you'll be judged if you keep saying all your previous romantic relationships, they were all terrible people? Yeah. It's not going to go over so well. It's not like, I recommend you talk about past relationships exclusively or exhaustively when you're dating somebody new. But, if you talk about them and they're all jerks, if you're talking to someone and everybody in your life is a total jerk, well, there's an expression. If you meet, 5 jerks before breakfast, maybe you're the jerk. And you'll be judged that way, right? So don't keep calling everybody that's been in your life that's no longer in your life. Boy, I really want to swear, but I don't want to, because I don't want to like. But anyway, jerks. You'll be the jerk. Anyway, so that's my thing. When you create characters or talk about people who aren't there to have a voice for themselves, you will be judged by how you talk about them to other people, whether that's on stage, whether that's in real life, right? By how you take care of them and bring voice to the voiceless in your interactions, right? Okay. Well, that's it for today. Thanks, everybody. Look forward to seeing you next time. I don't think I did a sponsor. Oh, well, today's sponsor is the magazine for the well-dressed baby. That's right. It's Coo GQ magazine for all your babies dressing needs. All right. Well, have a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.